Hello, good morning. Today we are discussing about the case of the pleural effusion. Before starting about the pleural effusion, we will see some anatomy of pleura. There are two layers of the pleura. One is a parietal pleura and second is a visceral pleura. Parietal pleura is firmly attached to the chest wall and the visceral pleura is attached to the outer surface of the lung. During the respiratory cycle, two layers of the pleura are come to each other. So prevention of the friction during the inspiration. So some amount of the fluid should be present to prevent this friction. So normally some amount, nearly 20 to 25 ml of the fluid is present in each pleural space. When the effusion is present, there is something wrong in the lung. So the pleural effusion is indicator of the disease of the lung parenchyma. Now we will think the fluid is formed and same amount of the fluid is also removed from the pleural space. So there is no accumulation of the fluid in the pleural space. When there is an imbalance between the fluid formation and removal of the fluid, lead to the formation of the or accumulation of the fluid in the space. It is called pleural effusion. Pleural effusion. Now definition of the pleural effusion. There is a abnormal amount of the fluid in the pleural space is called pleural effusion. Pathology, pathophysiology. There are mechanisms of fluid formation and fluid removal. Fluid is removed by the mostly lymphatic system. The mechanism of the fluid formation, when there is the capillary permeability of the pleura. In the case of the infection, second is the chestoma, and in the malignancy, capillary permeability increase. So the fluid formation is more. And second is pulmonary capillary hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic pressure keep the fluid in compartment. Now pulmonary hydrostatic pressure force the fluid from compartment to the other compartment. When the hydrostatic pressure increase in the lung tissue, they force the pressure to the pleura. So the amount of the fluid goes in the pleural space. Third is the oncotic pressure. Oncotic pressure keep the fluid in the compartment. When there is a oncotic pressure decrease, the retention of the fluid in the compartment is go down. And lastly, the removal of the fluid from the space is by the pleural lymphatic drainage. When the pleural lymphatic drainage is blocked from the origin by the metastatic or at the end by the enlargement of the lymph node. When the fluid is formed in the space, patient is complaining, the symptom of the fluid fluid is two types. One is due to the fluid itself, and secondary to the lesion in the lung tissue itself. Now the symptom due to the fluid itself depend on the onset of the fluid formation and its quantity. When the onset is gradually and amount is very less, the symptom is very less. But when the onset is acute and amount of the fluid is also high, then patient is complaining of the shortness of breath. Second is a rheumatic chest pain. Patient is having initial stage there is a rheumatic chest pain due to the inflamed pleura come to each other during the respiratory cycle. When there is a friction between them, it produces a chest pain. Patient is having dry cough. Now the symptom due to the underlying lung disease. One is maybe fever, weight loss, appetite also loss. Patient is feeling of the some fatigue, weakness. Sometimes patient may develop edema and fullness of the abdomen. Now we should examine the patient. On the examination of the patient with the inspection, palpation, percussion, auscultation. In the inspection, in the case of the effusion, there is a fullness or bulging of the unilateral chest having effusion. Second is a movement also remain on the same side. Trachea and mediastinum is shifted to the opposite side, and on the percussion there is a stony dullness. On auscultation, breath sound is decreased or it is absent, and vocal resonances go down. The diagnosis of the effusion is very easy. We can diagnose effusion by the medical examination. Patient is having dry cough, then progressive breathlessness, and the symptom of the underlying disease, and it is confirmed by the chest radiography. X-ray. In this slide we will see there is a radio dense opacity. It is triangular at the left base. We will not able to see the CP angle and dome of diaphragm. The slight shifting of the mediastinum toward the right side. So X-ray is suggestive of the left side pleural effusion. Now the common cause of the effusion. One is bacteria pneumonia. Second is tuberculosis in the developing country. Third is carcinoma of the lung. Next is chest trauma. And from GI tract, common cause is pancreatic disease or intra-abdominal abscess. When the effusion on the left side, we will think about the pancreatic disease, and the effusion on the right side, we will think the liver abscess. These 5 cause favor the exudative effusion, and the congestive cardiac failure and cirrhosis of the liver, nephrotic syndrome, and hypoalbuminemia give the transudative type of effusion. Now the less common pulmonary embolism, autoimmune rheumatoid arthritis, systemic lupus erythematosus, post-mortem infarction syndrome, fungal infection, yellow nail syndrome, and sometimes drug induced. In case of when there is a constrictive pericarditis secondary to the tuberculosis etiology, may produce the effusion also. When the superior vena cava obstruction eczema, Nemec syndrome also produce the pleural effusion. Now when there is a effusion, we will see after pleural tapping, when the appearance of the tap fluid, when it looks like the serum color, then it is hydrothorax. When the color of the tap fluid is reddish, then it may be hemothorax. When it is turbid yellowish in color, it is pyothorax. When it is milky, then it may be chylothorax. By the cause, there are two types of effusion. One is exudative and the second is transudative. Now the transudative and exudative should be differentiated because the causes of the both are different. One is suppose patient is having CCF, cirrhosis or nephrotic syndrome, effusion develop. It may be transudative in nature. If the patient has a pneumonia, tuberculosis or carcinoma of lung and develop the effusion, so we should differentiate exudative from transudative by the Wright's criteria. Wright's criteria is having three components. One is a fluid protein divided by the serum protein. The ratio of this fluid protein and serum protein is greater than 50%. Second, fluid LDH and serum LDH ratio is greater than 60%, and fluid LDH more than 2/3 of the upper normal limit for serum LDH. Any one of above three mentioned criteria which match, it is probable exudative in nature. Now the 20% of the transudative effusion cases are diagnosed exudative by this Wright criteria. So we should confirm that this is not transudative and this is only exudative. Then we do the fluid and serum protein gradient. If the gradient of this is greater than 3.1, this is the transudative. If it is less than 3.1, this is the exudative. When effusion, we should do pleural tapping. It is called thoracosynthesis. There are two indications of the thoracosynthesis. One for the diagnostic purpose and a second is for the therapeutic purpose. In the diagnostic purpose, we should know the etiology of the fluid formation. In the case of the therapeutic person, when the patient is having severe shortness of breath, then we should relieve the shortness of breath after pleural tapping. When we aspirate the fluid, then we should send this fluid sample to the laboratory for the investigation. Commonly we advise the protein level, LDH level, glucose level, cell count, total and differential count, gram strain, culture and cytology, and TB marker, mostly EDA level. If we see the cell level, in the case of the pneumonia, early tuberculosis, cell is mostly polymorphs predominant. Pneumonia and TB is having polymorph predominant after 2 weeks. In the case of the tuberculosis, polymorphs is replaced by the lymphocyte predominant. When there is a lymphocyte predominant, we will think about the tuberculosis, and second is a malignancy. Other cause of the lymphocyte predominant are the lymphoma, sarcoidosis, chylothorax, and rheumatoid arthritis. Polymorphs and lymphocyte is more commonly seen. We should focus polymorphs and lymphocyte. If the eosinophil count is more than 10, then we will think about the drugs, parasite, pulmonary infection, CS syndrome, presence of the air or blood in the pleural space. During the tapping, some amount of the air may go in space, or some trauma to the vessel during the tapping, and blood enter in the pleural space. Both give the eosinophil count high. In the developing country, the tuberculosis is the most common cause of the effusion. When the patient is young, then we should diagnose by the EDA level. If the EDA level is higher than 40 unit per ml, the chances of the TB is more. When the high level of the EDA is more significant for the tuberculosis origin, but EDA level may be high in the case of the malignancy, empyema, and rheumatoid arthritis, but it is round about the normal range between the 35 to 45 unit. So when the level is nearly double or more than double, then the chances of the tuberculosis is more and more. When we suspect the pancreatic origin of the effusion, we should do the amyloid level in the fluid. Amyloid level is two types. One is a pancreatic type and second is a salivary type. In the pancreatitis, rupture of the ectopic pregnancy, pancreatic type of amyloid is raised. But in the case of the malignancy and esophageal ruptures, amyloid, but it is the salivary type is increased. When the fluid amyloid level is greater than 2 of the serum level is considered as significantly high. And fluid cytology. Once we suspect the malignancy as an etiology, then we should examine the fluid for the fluid cytology. 50% of the lung metastatic patients have effusion at the time of presentation. So in the lung metastasis, the presentation in the later stage of the disease. And fluid cytology is positive in 60% cases of malignancy. When we think about the CA, when the age of the patient is more than 50, patient is a chronic smoker, symptom of the malignancy such as slight fever, chest pain, blood sting sputum, very small amount of the blood in the sputum, all favor the patient is having malignancy. That is confirmed by the CT thorax. We see the TB effusion TB effusion activity in nature means any criteria of the Wright's criteria match. It may be activative, lymphocyte predominant, EDA more than 40, lymphocyte and neutrophil of the fluid is greater than 0.75, fluid for the culture on the LGA media, and fluid is sent for the gene expert CBNAT or LPA, means the molecular test. Once you suspect the tuberculosis origin, you should take the chest X-ray, sputum for acid-fast bacilli, RBS, and ICTs each. Once if you want to start anti-TB treatment, you have to perform random blood sugar and ICTC. It mandatory in the program. When the appearance of the drain fluid is cloudy, then we will think patient has empyema secondary to the pneumonia, or it may be chylothorax, it may be chyliform effusion. All give the milky appearance. For the evaluation of the milky white effusion, we should centrifuge or at the laboratory level. After centrifugation, the fluid is divided into two parts. Upper part is clear and some debris settle at bottom. It's suggestive of the empyema. If no clearance or it remains uniformly turbid, the chances of the chylothorax and pseudocylothorax. In the chylothorax and pseudocylothorax, we should differentiate by the lipid level, triglyceride level and cholesterol level, and lipoprotein analysis. In the chylothorax, the level of the triglyceride level is more than 110 mg/%. In the case of the pseudocylothorax, is less than 50 mg/%. In the presence of the cholesterol crystal, if the cholesterol crystal is present, it is a pseudocylothorax. And cholesterol level, if it is a less than 200 mg, it is a chylothorax. If it is greater than 200 mg, it is a pseudocylothorax. When the chylomacron is present, it favors the chylothorax. Absent favors the pseudocylothorax. Now the causes of the chylothorax is lymphoma, lung metastasis, and esophageal rupture. And pseudocylothorax, tuberculosis, second is rheumatoid arthritis, and poorly-treated empyema. Now, radiological feature of the effusion. The fluid is accumulated at the base due to the gravitatory force. The chest is anterior CP angle and posterior CP angle. Anterior CP is higher level than the posterior CP angle. So the any fluid in the space is accumulated initially at the posterior CP angle. If you take the chest lateral view and obliteration of the posterior CP angle, then we will suspect patient may have minimal effusion. And the obliteration of the posterior CP angle, then amount of the fluid is nearly 100 ml. If amount of the fluid is greater than 100 ml, then we will see the obliteration of the lateral CP angle on the PA view. If the amount of the fluid is more than 500 ml, then entire tumor diaphragm on the effusion side is not visible, and if the amount of the fluid is gradually increased, then it comes to the heart border. So we can't see the heart border also. X-ray of the effusion. One is a typical effusion appearance, second is atypical pleural effusion. Now the typical pleural effusion, the effusion at base, there is a triangular opacity with concavity towards the hilum. We can't see the lateral CP angle and tumor diaphragm. Concavity towards the hilum and mediastinum is shifted to the contralateral side. Now the atypical effusion, it may be insisted effusion, it may be crystal effusion, it may be infrapulmonary effusion. You see the X-ray. In the X-ray, we will see the right dome of diaphragm is elevated. So we will think some chances of the subpleural effusion. The apparent elevation of the hemidiaphragm on the affected side, and the apex of the dome of diaphragm is at the midclavicular line. If the apex of the dome of diaphragm is go laterally, then may suspect subpulmonary or infrapulmonary effusion. From apex to the left CP angle, there is a sharp reduction from apex to left CP angle and preservation of the sharp postophrenic angle, then we suspect infrapulmonary effusion. Fissure effusion. When there is a fissure effusion, we should first suspect it may be solitary pulmonary nodule or it may be mass. If we know the anatomy of the fissure and the same solid lesion on the fissure side, then may think fissure effusion. On the PA view, fissure effusion is round opacity, well marginated, surrounded by the normal lung parenchyma. And if you take the X-ray in the lateral view, the opacity typically elongated along the direction of the fissure may have tapering end, and the outer border is well marginated, smooth. So the lateral view is more important to confirm the fissure effusion. Most common cause of the fissure effusion is transudity. One is the congestive cardiac failure. In this X-ray, you will see the round opacity in the right mid zone. It is rounded in shape, nearly at the site of the transverse fissure. The synonymous of the fissure effusion is the phantom tumor, vanishing tumor, and pulmonary mass. If you X-ray shows also cardiomegaly. When the cardiomegaly and the same picture at the fissure anatomy, we suspect fissure effusion. In this case, we should treat the patient with the at least 4 to 5 days. And exercise should be repeated after 1 week. It may disappear. Insisted effusion, mostly it is a lateral wall, means along the chest wall. It is a radiodense, homogeneous in appearance, well marginated. Outer margin is formed by the chest wall and inner margin is formed by the visceral pleura. It is a biconvex in shape with tapering end. The angle with the chest wall is obtuse more than 90 degree and vertical diameter is greater than transverse diameter. This is the X-ray of the insisted effusion. You will see the radiodense opacity near to the chest wall and near to the right CP angle. The concavity toward the chest wall and vertical diameter is greater than transverse diameter. Angle at the chest wall is obtuse, so chances of the insisted effusion is more. Now the typical effusion. This is the homogeneous radiodense opacity, mostly at the basal due to the gravitatory force. The blunting of the postophrenic angle in small effusion with obliteration of the diaphragmatic outline and upper border of the outline. Upper border is smooth concave toward the hilum, means the meniscus sign is positive. When the amount of the fluid is more, then shifting of the mediastinum on the opposite direction. The shifting of the mediastinum is depending on the amount of the fluid. But when there is a massive effusion and no shifting, then we may think about the underlying malignancy. The malignancy fixes the mediastinum and mediastinum is infected by the malignant cell, so the mediastinum be fixed. In this case, there is no shifting of the mediastinum. When there is no shifting of the mediastinum and massive effusion, you may suspect underlying etiology is malignancy. This is the typical case of the effusion. There is a dense radio opacity at the right base. We can't visualize the right CP angle with dome of diaphragm, right, and we can't see the lower half of the right cardiac border. We can't see the air bronchogram sign. Some shifting of the mediastinum to the left side. So it is the right side pleural effusion. X-ray is the most common radio image to diagnose pleural effusion. The other radio image modality is one is a CT thorax and second is a USG chest. We should take the X-ray in the lateral decubitus. Lateral decubitus X-ray shows effusion, means there is a fluid in the space. It is mostly free. So when there is a localized, there is a no shifting. If you take the CT, it is suggestive of the effusion. CT thorax should be taken mostly for the, we think about the malignancy. CT is best imaging modality. It is more accurate than chest radiograph. It visualizes pulmonary pleura and mediastinum and hilar. Any lesion not visualized by the chest X-ray may be visualized by the CT thorax, or any abnormality on the pleural surface is also detected by the CT thorax. If the enlargement of the hilum or mediastinal lymph node may be detected by the CT, and deep destruction is also detected by the CT thorax. USG chest in effusion. This is the more important, even though chest X-ray. It can detect the minimal amount of fluid present in the space. It can detect a little air 10 to 15 in the normal amount of the fluid is also detected by the USG chest. It can localize whether fluid is loculated or free, or presence of the debris means that it can say this is the cirrus or it may be empyema. USG is more important to select the site for synthesis. It can detect the pleural thickening from the pleural effusion. Now the radiological effect of the effusion. Large volume of the pleural effusion cause pressure on the underlying lung, resulting in the collapse. This collapse is called relaxation collapse. Means the pressure on the visual pleura. Lung tissue is relaxed, so it is called relaxation collapse. If the volume of the fluid is greater than the degree of the collapse, there will be a mediastinal shift. But for the undergraduate level, in the case of the effusion, shows the always mediastinal shift to the opposite side. But the post-graduation degree, effusion having no shifting of the mediastinum or sometimes shifting on the same side, we should differentiate. Now the differential diagnosis of the effusion. One is the pleural effusion. Second, patient has a pneumonia. Third is the collapse. And fourth is the thickened pleura. And fifth is the destroyed lung or huge lung mass. But we should differentiate effusion from the pneumonia. Both give the diminished movement, percussion, dull. We can differentiate effusion from the pneumonia. If the VR is decreased, then effusion is present, and VR is increased, we can say patient is having pneumonia. There is no shifting of the mediastinum favor the pneumonia and shifting favor the effusion. Now the treatment is depending on two types. One is treatment of the fluid itself. The second is treatment of the positive mechanism. In the why fluid is formed in the space. Now the treatment of the underlying disease. Common cause of the effusion is pneumonia, tuberculosis, lung abscess. All three give the exudative nature, and CCF give the transudative nature. In the case of the congestive cardiac failure, patient is a known case of the hypertension, long history, patient is taking antihypertensive treatment of ischemic heart disease treatment. Patient may have effusion, bilateral X-ray is suggestive of the cardiomegaly. So you should treat the HCCF. Once you suspect pneumonia, tuberculosis, and lung abscess, 40% of the pneumonic patient develop effusion. It is called pneumonic. Effusion with pneumonia. Majority of the patient who has pneumonia and develop effusion do not require pleural tapping. The appropriate treatment of the underlying pneumonia, then fluid is subsided simultaneously with the pneumonia. Once you suspect tuberculosis, you assess or you evaluate for the tuberculosis by the sputum for acid pass bacillus, sputum for CBNAT examination, and 1-2 test. And if you suspect the carcinoma of the lung, you do the biopsy of the pleura, and for further management you may refer to the higher center. Now the treatment of the fluid. One, we do the thoracosynthesis. Indication of the thoracosynthesis. Two, one is a diagnostic, second is the therapeutic. When the patient is having shortness of breath, you should do the thoracosynthesis to relieve the symptom. For the diagnostic, what is the underlying etiology is to be confirmed. If the repeated fluid formation, we try to prevent the recurrence. If the recurrences occur, it should be blocked by the fluorodesis. Fluorodesis is three types. One is a biological, second is a chemical, and third is a biological, chemical, and surgical. And if the decortication is also due to prevent the recurrence of the effusion. Our treatment are completed depend on the underlying causes. A small, simple parapneumonic effusion can be observed, will be resolved with the appropriate treatment of the underlying infection. If you suspect the congestive cardiac failure, you should consider diuretic therapy. If you suspect infected effusion, should be drained with the intercostal drainage tube. If effusion is secondary to the malignancy, patient requires fluorodesis following the drainage. Thank you.